I think the building of a motorway across open countryside sets a terrible example of how we value or undervalue the countryside. It's as if the countryside doesn't matter, it's empty space. And it isn't empty. It's not only about saving Otmoor, it's about saving the countryside. Wherever it goes, it'll cause a huge amount of damage. I moved into Halton-cum-Studley when I was about 6 months old. So about 60 and a half years I've lived in Halton-cum-Studley. One of the great joys of living here was that on Otmoor especially, there are a number of little streams, or ditches they are really, that come off of the River Ray. And even the little stream that I fished in, it was extraordinary how many species of fish you'd find. And I'd go all day long. From about the age of 7 or 8, I'd wander down from my home with 2 sandwiches, one to eat for lunch and the other one to use as bait. And I would fish all day. And the great joy of fishing on Otmoor was that you actually have to stalk the fish. So you're not just sort of sat down watching a float, you're actually creeping along the bank looking for particular fish. And then you'd cast your piece of bread out and watch it gently float down over the head of the fish and hope that they take it. Is that a fish? I think we've got one. Oh, you're not meant to say no. Oh, it's a big one. It's a big one. It's put enough of fight. I think what was special about growing up here was the freedom to be able to wander anywhere. That the countryside felt completely open and accessible. And it was only later I realised how it would inform my life and certainly my art. Well, the way I work as an artist is to try and get rid of anything that I think is superficial and exaggerate what I think is important. So the landscape of Otmoor often appears in my paintings. So for instance, when I decided to paint the deposition of Christ, which is where Jesus is taken off the cross, I wanted it to be set in a vast landscape. And for me, that was best encapsulated by the 100-acre field, which is this huge field in the middle of Otmoor. And when you stand in that field, you sense as if you're the only person in the world. It's like the centre of the universe. But often in my paintings, the trees or even the hills in the distant landscape move or point to the event that's being portrayed. And so the background is never just a backdrop. It's completely involved in the event. And that reflects my feeling that I'm not separate from my surroundings. I'm not separate from nature, I'm very much part of it. I think Otmoor is an extraordinary place because it's set aside. There's something very sort of ancient about it. Even though there's been slight changes over the 60 years that I've known it, it still feels in many ways the same. And it feels quite mysterious. It's the moodiness of it. My fear is that somebody in Whitehall will take a pin and put it into a map, marking an area that they've probably never visited to develop land that at the moment is undeveloped. And what's undeveloped? It isn't undeveloped. It's countryside. It's as it should be, and it should be left. And at this time, in this moment in time when we're realizing that we've got to battle to save the planet, should we really be encouraging this at this time?